Can we link self-confidence and self-liking with predictions of bulimic symptoms? Hi, my name is Leah. Normally I'm teaching you how to make some really nice bread, but I'm actually, in addition to working, a full-time student getting my master's in psychology, and I read all these cool studies that really give me a lot of hope for the future, and I want to share them with you. This study by all these amazing authors, feel free to take a screenshot, reference them, they be cool, decided to look at whether or not self-confidence and or self-liking are related to symptoms of bulimia. First, let's define self-liking. That is kind of like, do you have feelings, positive feelings towards yourself? You're kind of like, I love myself for who I am and what I do. Versus self-confidence is more like, can I do the things that I think are necessary? And in relation to eating disorders like bulimia, this is where you can find a lot of kind of icky feelings. Because food is often morally aligned, right? Like if you pick the broccoli, you're good. If you pick the donut, you're bad. But what this study is trying to say is, regardless of whether or not we think food is good or bad or how you get there or whatever, does it matter whether or not you like yourself for who you are or whether you think you can do what you need to do? In the context that they provide at the beginning of this paper, they're saying like there are studies that indicate that bulimic symptoms are higher if you have low self-esteem. And that sense of self-esteem is not at all related to what you actually weigh. And as somebody who survived an eating disorder, specifically bulimia, I can tell you that I still have a number in my head that is the perfect number. But even if I reach that number, it doesn't change how I feel. It's a made-up number. It's just kind of like a weird thing that I picked out of the universe. This is also known as perfectionism, the idea that there is a perfect state that you could be in, and once you're there, everything is fine. But what do we typically find? That once you get there, you're not fine, because to be perfect, to be in a black and white, kind of right and wrong, broccoli or donut sphere, it sucks. You kind of want both, right? I like broccoli and I like donuts. I just want to be able to eat both of them. So for this study, what they did is they looked at two independent groups of women that are in a similar age, 18 to 19 years old. They're attending psychology classes, and they gave them surveys 5 weeks apart in one scenario and 11 weeks apart in the other scenario. Both of the sets of surveys were the same, and they were asking them questions around how they feel about themselves and bulimia. Now, they didn't just ask, are you bulimic? They look for other indicators, so just keep that in mind. Generally, what they found is that if somebody feels like they have higher self-esteem, their rates of bulimia are lower. That is the same with self-competency, that you can do what you set out to do, and lower rates of bulimia. Here are all the numbers. Essentially, why you see negative numbers, that's telling you that the two are, whether or not you like yourself or feel competent is negatively linked with your bulimia rates. So the higher the rates of self-liking and self-efficacy go, the lower the rates of bulimia go. Why is that? We can infer or guess or hypothesize, but what the authors also talk about is saying, well, it's possible that when you feel like you're capable and able, you don't need to compensate for feelings of lacking, a feeling that you're not good enough, with trying to fit into some idea of perfection via your weight. This is supported by the fact that self-liking had less of an impact on the rates of bulimia than self-efficacy. And that is, again, kind of saying, like, is if you like yourself, no matter what, let's say no matter what, then you don't need to compensate for any feelings of shame or guilt or feeling not good enough. But if you don't think you're good enough at doing things, you might decide, I'm going to go try to fix it. And one way to do that is to have a perfect weight that is not real. And again, it gets in there, and then it's really hard not to continue to want to do that. So why is this important at all? Because it says to us that it's not just how you feel, but it's also how you act. And there's such thing as cognitive behavioral therapy, which thinks about both what you think and what you do and helping to treat any of the things that you're dealing with. And CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is a really great tool for overcoming eating disorders. So this study really just indicates that if we want to help feel better and have lower rates of bulimia, one approach is to work on our feelings of self-efficacy. That could mean redefining what success looks like. It could also be kind of looking at a bigger picture and trying to find other ways to love yourself. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'm really enjoying sharing this information with you, and let me know if there's anything else you want to learn.